Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, hello, my name is Julie. I am an occupational therapist. I coach moms to help them go from feeling tired and overwhelmed and just living not the best version of themselves, I guess, to feeling a lot more calm, confident, having simplified systems and structures, and really enjoying their kids' childhood. I have 3 kids of my own, age 7, 5, and 1. So I am in early motherhood just like you guys, and I know how tough it can be. And my hope is through my videos and podcasts and the content and just my community that I can ease some of these rough transitions for you, help you with tools, tricks, skills, all the things. So thank you so much for being here. Today's topic, it's a good one, man. It is something that I still struggle with, but I have come a long way, and that is things that I no longer feel guilty for as a mom. So I want to get into that because I have a feeling like a love-hate relationship with guilt. Like, it's necessary because I don't want people going around killing people in society. Like, we need to have the emotion of guilt. It's clearly there for a reason, but I think we oversubscribe to that, especially as women and as moms, because we have a lot on our plate. So I want to dive into that, but before I do, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube or on the podcast. Give this video a like and comment down below. What do you feel guilty about these days? Let me know. So let's jump right in. Okay, so I've made a list on my phone over here. These are in no particular order. I guess you can determine what is more important to you or not, but here we go. The first one is, I no longer feel guilty about sleeping in. So to be fair, this doesn't happen very often, and I'm quite a light sleeper, so even when I do have the opportunity to sleep in, if there's a lot of noise and doors are being opened and kids are coming in and out, I'm probably not going to sleep late anyway. And also, when you're a parent, you know, like, sleeping in is like 7:30 in the morning, right? So I take the opportunity to sleep in on the weekends if we have if our schedule dictates, if we have a chance, and my husband and I will trade off. We don't really have like a very strict schedule when it comes to that. I do have friends that have a predetermined trade-off time with their partner, and if that works for you, it kind of sounds amazing. So like, for example, they'll do one Saturday will be mom will get up with the kids early so dad can sleep, then the next day they'll flip it and it'll just go flip and flip and flip. And if that works for you, great. I don't know if I have the mental capacity to remember whose night was who or whose morning was who, but when I do get the opportunity to sleep in, I take it. Alright, something else I no longer feel guilty about is under-scheduling my kids. In fact, I have a hard rule that, at least for right now, it could change, we do not schedule extracurriculars or regular activities on the weekends. I like to keep the weekends free for family time, and kind of the same goes throughout the week. Both of my kids, they participate in 1 or 2 extracurricular things after school, and that is it, because I don't want to be in the car all day long driving them back and forth. I think it's really important for kids to be at home and play and spend time together. Their school day is quite long, and the time goes by so fast by the time they get home, and then we have dinner and bath and everything and go to bed at a reasonable time. There's not a lot of hours for us just to kind of have free play, and I think that's really important for young children. So I no longer feel like they are missing out if they do not have a scheduled activity every day after school. That's my personal preference. Maybe it'll change as they express interest in different things, but I really want it to be more of them like really, advocating for themselves to add in extra scheduled activities at the end of the school day. So for right now, I don't overschedule. I no longer feel guilty for paying someone else to clean my home. Now, let me just talk about this. We only have a cleaner every 2 weeks, and if you have little kids, you know that that is not enough. So there is really no reason to feel guilty about having someone come in and deep clean your home. You have to think of it like, what would you rather be doing in that time than scrubbing toilets or the bathtub or whatever, and you're going to be cleaning so much in between that time to make sure that all that stickiness on the floor is not going everywhere, the crumbs, the tables. There's so much more to clean, so it's not like I do not have the opportunity to clean. But before, I used to think, well, you know, if I can clean, why shouldn't I? Yeah, but there are lots of things that I can do that I choose not to. So in this instance, in this stage of life with 3 young kids, both of us having busy lives working, not having any extra help besides ourselves, we have decided to invest in our family by hiring a cleaner every 2 weeks. She's amazing. I love her so much, and I look forward to, you know, once she's done, because it is really great to have the house reset, and I highly recommend it. It took us like 12 years of marriage to get a cleaner, so, you know, don't be like us. Another thing is making my kids do chores. So I think it is very important to provide your children opportunities and consistently nudge them to participate in chores. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get past the, oh, I don't feel like going back upstairs, or I don't want to put my pajamas back, or I don't know how to make my bed. I don't know if we'll ever get past those little whiny things, but I do think it has been getting better as they've gotten older. I've been having less resistance, and I've even found that sometimes they do these chores without me even asking them. So I know it's getting through to them somehow, but I think it's really important that we do not do everything for our kids, that we think about it as training and teaching them life skills that is obviously age appropriate. And I think it's important that they have some kind of awareness of being part of the family and contributing to the overall health of the family. And for me, having a clean, clutter-free, tidy environment is really, really important for us to thrive. And, you know, my children making their beds or putting away their books or taking their pajamas back upstairs because they get changed down here is part of that. And I think they will appreciate these skills as they grow older. Look, I'm not planning on a return on my investment for many, many years. There's probably going to be some grumbling along the way. That's fine. But I hope when they look back, they will be grateful that they had some kind of appreciation of how a home works. Along those same lines, making my children clean up their own toys. Yes. Is it quicker if I do it? Is it done probably more neatly if I do it? Sure. But it is, again, very important to me that they take responsibility for their own things and tidy up what is theirs. Again, it's all age appropriate. You know, my older children are now 7 and 5. They are fully capable of cleaning up their toys, even if they tell you they're not. And I have worked hard to find systems in our home and spots for toys in our home that are at their level, that are easy for them to pick up and carry, you know, not overloading a basket of something so that I would be able to pick it up, but they wouldn't, making it as easy as possible, reducing as many barriers so that they can seamlessly clean up their toys without me even asking, to be honest. And the more you kind of gently repeat and say things like, okay, well, you know, we'll do the next thing once that's cleaned up, eventually it's like magic. They do start to do it. I mean, like, they have to be in the right mood, but they do it automatically without you even having to tell them, because they know what you're going to say. So if they're really motivated to open up the next toy or do another activity, they are going to, you know, do everything they can to have it happen as quickly as possible. And we don't do a lot of screen time. You can go and check out my screen time video down below and linked up here, but they know that I'm going to tell them, please tidy all of that up before we watch a show or do anything like that. So now it's kind of ingrained in them, and it's a lot less work for me, which is great. All right, something else that I no longer feel guilty about is not always reading to them at night. I know, you can come at me. I'm probably a terrible mom, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You know, I have always, you know, understood that we read books before we go to bed, and it is a wonderful way to wind down, and it is a great habit to get into as a parent, even from like a young baby age, to be reading a book before they go to bed. But sometimes it's just not practical, and sometimes you wait so long to read them a book that they're so exhausted, it's just not a good time. So I try and read, especially with my 1-year-old, throughout the day, so that there's not this pressure that she needs to be exposed to words and language right before bed. But obviously if it's part of your routine, that's great, and we do it most of the time, but sometimes we're out, we come back late, and we forfeit a book. And I feel fine about that, because I feel like they're getting enough books and reading throughout their day and throughout their week. And so if we don't read a book right before bed, I let it go. Along the lines of cleaning. Sometimes we cannot, or I cannot sit down with my kids to play with them because I need to take care of household chores, whether that's cooking dinner or unpacking groceries or wiping down counters, folding the laundry. Sometimes I can't play with them, and you know, they would prefer me to sit down and play with them, and I think that is great, but I no longer feel guilty for not always doing that. I don't feel like I need to be playing with them 24/7. My role in the house is to keep things running, to keep us like not late for things, to make sure we're providing for our children. And when I can play with them, I do. When I can spend one-on-one time with them, of course I do that. But you know, they also have to learn that we all have responsibilities, and sometimes playing and just more free time comes after those responsibilities, and that is just how it is for us. I'm very fortunate because I have the two older ones and even the baby now. They can all play together, and a lot of the time they're not needing me to play with them. That is the beauty of having multiple children. It's one of the payoffs. But I also think, you know, I'm not their peer, so I'm going to play very differently than they would with each other. So it's a balance of my husband and I playing with them as they get older, and also them playing with one another. But I no longer feel guilty if I'm not playing with them for hours and hours, because it is just not practical for my lifestyle. Okay, so this is a huge one, and I think a lot of moms can relate to this. I no longer feel guilty for taking care of myself when it comes to working out. I used to have so much guilt about going to a workout class, or, you know, spending time with my friends, going for a walk or something like that, because I was taking away precious time from my children. Now granted, I've like revolutionized my lifestyle where I'm with them a lot more than I used to be, and that also really helps. And I can carve out time to work out a little bit better, but you know, there's never enough time in the day. There's always a trade-off. If you're gonna work out, then maybe you can't read a book, or if you're gonna work out, then maybe you're not baking a cake or cleaning your home or playing with your children. There's always a trade-off, but I do think that investing in my own health benefits the whole family, right? I'm a nicer person because my energy is more stable, my mood is more stable. Hopefully, I'm investing in my health means I live longer, so we're all around together for longer. And I think it is important to show my children that I view my body as a temple and as the way that I show up in this world, and I want to feel my best, which has an impact on the family. So I no longer feel guilty for taking time for myself to work out. These are all over the place, so I hope you're getting value from them, and let me know if you can relate to any of these. But the next one is, I no longer feel guilty for having a huge diversity in meals. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I am not the world's best cook, or rather, I don't enjoy like stressful everyday cooking. Like, yes, I can follow a nice recipe and make a big meal and, you know, go shop with ingredients, but that is not my life anymore. My life is making sure that we have homemade meals at home every night, or close to every night. We don't really eat out very much. I feel like definitely not for dinner, but we used to eat out a lot more, order a lot more takeout in New York, and it got a little bit out of control. And so here in Austin, it's more challenging for us to do that. So I think it's kind of a good thing. But our meals are simple, and we repeat them every week. We kind of have the similar thing every Monday night, the similar thing every Tuesday night, because it's just easier at the end of the day. And yeah, sometimes I'm like, am I giving them enough diversity? They haven't had an artichoke or an endive or I don't know, some special kind of macadamia nut. It is what it is. I mean, I only ate avocados as a 20-year-old, and my parents ate avocados every single day in front of me, and I still didn't want to eat them, so they tried their best. Anyway, the point being, we don't overcomplicate meals. We try and have balanced protein and fat-rich meals. We try and put some green in there, and that's what we do, and it works for us, and it means that everybody is eating some kind of cooked meal. We're not eating cereal for dinner, and I call that a win. Okay, going on date nights, getting a babysitter. This is something I still kind of struggle with a little bit, in terms of just, I would love to have a regular babysitter that we can trust and will always be available for us. That is not the reality. We've struggled to find regular babysitters because everybody's got their own lives. But we are trying really hard to go on more regular date nights with each other, and I no longer feel guilty about that. In fact, my two older children absolutely love the babysitters we've had and are super excited for us to go. So that makes me feel a lot better. But if you have little kids who you feel like might struggle to separate from you. Like I can fully appreciate that, and it is very hard to leave them if they're crying or they want you. And it's really, you know, their way of communicating that they're not happy with this. They don't fully understand the situation, but the more that you do it and the more they get to know the person, the less likely that is to happen. Also, we usually put our baby to bed so she doesn't even know what's going on. So that makes things a lot easier. But I think it's really important to take that time for yourself every now and again and to go out with your partner, because that relationship you have with them is so important for the health of your family. All right, I promise this list is nearly done. But the next thing that I try my best not to feel guilty about is working and taking time away from my kids. So I work to provide for our family, to, you know, give back myself, to be of service to other people. And I think that is important as well. It is something that I crave creatively as a person who happens to have children as well, and I'm just not the type of person that can only be a mom right now. I'm working much less than I ever used to, and that is a conscious choice that I have made. But as my kids get older, I am working more and more, and time away from them I choose not to feel guilty about, because I'm building something that will benefit all of us and will also show them that, you know, we're all diverse people that have different dreams and passions and purposes, and we need to follow that. So I no longer feel guilty about working. I used to have crazy mom guilt when I was working a lot more hours, but also just the lifestyle was tough for me, and that made it a lot worse. And I think I've evolved, and I have a different relationship now with working and what a working mom means than I did in the past. Okay, here's something else that people are probably going to come at me for, but I no longer feel guilty, or maybe I never have felt guilty, about going all out on holidays. So here's a great example. Recently, Valentine's Day was here, and growing up, at least for me, let me know in the comments for you guys, but at least for me, Valentine's was a romantic holiday between, you know, lovers, let's just call it that, and not so much children, from parents to children. And now I fully get it. Friendship Day is a great way to celebrate, and the love you have for your children is amazing. But I didn't make heart-shaped pancakes, and I didn't give my children gifts or cards. They didn't give me any actually either. And my husband and I exchanged a card, and like, we didn't make it a big deal. I don't feel guilty about that. I just feel like we have Christmas, we have birthdays. Every holiday now is an excuse to give gifts and have more clutter sometimes. It depends what it is, and if I feel really called to give someone a gift, I'm absolutely going to do it. But I don't want to give a gift just because I'm being told to. Maybe it's the rebel in me, but I still think you can mark the holiday in a sincere way without going like all out crazy or spending a lot of money. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. All right, something else that I don't feel guilty about and that I definitely changed my mind on over the years is taking my kids out of school early, like either picking them up early on a day or having them miss a few days of school so that we can travel to see family or go on a vacation to experience another part of this world. I grew up never missing school ever, really, ever. And so it was a very foreign concept for me to now take my kids out of school. I felt like, oh my gosh, they're missing out and everything. And then I realized, and also a teacher really helped me to realize this too, like life experiences are even more valuable. You know, life outside of a classroom is super important. And so any opportunity we have to travel, if it happens to coincide with taking a few days off here and there of school, as long as it's not detrimental to them where they're so behind or something, I'm going to do it. So I no longer feel guilty about them missing a little bit of school. Plus they're really young, and we're gonna do it right now as a family. All right, so things that I'm working on, let me know if this is something that resonates with you, is leaving my kids overnight. So that is something that I do feel guilty about and hence have not done really very much. I have never left this third baby, and I've only left the others like a handful of times, almost under duress. And it's something that I kind of struggle with. I think if we had family nearby and they were willing and happy to look after our kids, it would be a different story because that's like an extension of us. But I just have a problem, at least for right now, like paying a babysitter to come and stay in our house overnight while we travel away. Now, I do really want to work towards going away for the weekend with my husband without our children, just having a bit of a break, but the timing and the circumstances just haven't worked out that way, and it just hasn't seemed worth it to me yet. Maybe as they get a bit older and they can communicate with me and we can build a relationship with someone that I really trust, then we would consider doing that. But right now, these are things that I'm working towards because I do think it is important to have time with your spouse without your children. So yeah, let me know if that's something you struggle with as well. All right, and that is it. I know, a long list. I feel like I've been talking, well, I have been talking for like 20 minutes. So if there are any things on those lists that you can relate to, leave it in the comments down below. Give this video a like, share it with someone else who might be dealing with the mom guilt, because honestly, my conclusion is it's not helpful. If you're gonna do it anyway, don't feel guilty about it. I recently had my hair cut and my hairdresser was like, yeah, I don't feel guilty. Once I make a decision, I'm done. And I'm like, that's a good thing to channel. I should definitely try and embody that a bit more, because if you're gonna do it anyway, why feel guilty about it? Why make yourself feel bad? Why persecute yourself? So yeah, if you're not gonna do it, then the guilt is maybe giving you some insight as to why you shouldn't or why you're not ready. But yeah, so I would love to have you guys as subscribers and to join the family. Let me know what future videos or podcasts you would like me to do. And with all that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.